geometrical isomers, we have already seen structural isomers, and in structural isomers we have seen 4 types of isomerism, 5 types of isomerism: chain, positional, functional, metamers, and tautomers. So that was about structural isomers, where the compounds have different structures, and because they have different structures, they also have different names. Their IUPAC name is different, right? Now coming to this, the new type of isomerism, which is called geometrical stereoisomers. In this, we have already seen that there will be the stereoisomers will be divided into 2 categories: configurational and conformational. Right? In configurational, we said that these are the isomers which can be isolated by general or physical or chemical reactions or processes, right? So this configurational isomer is again divided into 2, that is geometrical and optical isomers. So we will start with geometrical isomers. Now, when this, or what is the reason for this? The reason for such type of isomers is the multiple bonds. That is, if there is a multiple bond, so there will be restriction in rotation. So that is the main reason for geometrical isomers, that is restriction in rotation due to multiple bonds, double bond or triple bond. Now, not only multiple bond, it can be due to one multiple bond, and even it can be introduced due to a ring. So when a ring is formed, obviously there will be a restriction in rotation. Now, to understand what does it mean, suppose there is a C, single bond C, and then there are these 3 groups here and 3 groups here, right? Now this rotation about this CC bond is possible because this is sigma bond. But when this bond is a double bond, right, like this, then this rotation about this double bond is not possible. So that doesn't happen when there is a double bond or multiple bond, or even in the case of rings, it won't be possible. So if there is a ring formation like this, so these junctions are nothing but carbons. So there is a carbon here, carbon here, carbon here, or a ring. Even if it is non-organic or inorganic compound, even in that case, it will be same thing. And there are 2 hydrogens here, or 2 groups here and 2 groups here. Now, if it wants to rotate, this rotation is again restricted. So in these 2 cases, we have, or we say that the rotation is restricted. And because it is restricted, so one form cannot rotate and change to another form, right? So that's what we mean by saying, or that's what we mean when we say that the rotation is restricted due to multiple bonds. So I'll also send you a video explaining this with some 3D models, maybe by tonight or maybe by tomorrow morning. I'll send that, right? So now let us see what will be the conditions for geometrical isomers. So we have seen conditions in different cases. Now let's see conditions for geometrical isomers. So the 2 configurations should be different, then only there will be an isomer. If 2 configurations are identical, that is before rotation and after rotation, if the configurations are identical, then we say that the 2 configurations are identical configurations, identical products or identical structures. So that means there is no isomerism, right? So the first condition is that there must be restriction in rotation. the first thing which we have already discussed, must be restriction in rotation. So that is the first thing, right? And restricted atoms should have different substituents. Just rotation restriction is not sufficient. There should be the atoms which are restricted, right? So the restricted atoms or sites should have different substituents. So what does it mean? This means that if you have, say, these atoms A and B connected by a double bond, so we have achieved the first thing, that is, we have restricted the rotation. Now, suppose the substituents are here A and B, right? So the as we have seen, the restricted atom should have different substituents. So now the substituents should be different. As you can see here, it is A and B, not A and A, right? So this A is not equal to B. This is what we mean when we say different substituents. The restricted atoms should have different substituents. Same way, the on this side you can have same thing, A or B, or you can have some other substituents as well, say C or D. The thing is, these two should be different, right? For every restricted atom, the substituent should be different. They should not be same. So A and B are restricted sites, and the substituents at A and B, as you have seen, are different. Two different substituents, and not just double bond. It can be even like this, say a cycle formed like this, and here on, suppose this site is A and this site is, or atom is B, then we have the same thing, that is, here you must have two different atoms, and here also two atoms must be different, right? And if it is like this, say like this, A and A, then this is not a site of, or you can say this is not eligible. Now, why we say it is not eligible? Because there has to be a rotation. Rotation around double bond is not possible. So that means these compounds can either be in this form. Say, for example, you may have A double bond B, A, B, and then on this side there can be A and B. So this is one form or one configuration, and another configuration can be A double bond B, A, B, and on this side it can be B, A. So what do we see here is that this A and A are on same side, but here this A and A are on opposite side. So this configuration is called cis configuration, and this configuration is called trans configuration, right? And they cannot rotate. This rotation is not possible. So if rotation is not possible, that means these two different entities exist in isolation. It's not like they are not in isolation, they exist. They have their own independent existence, right? It's not like one will be formed and from that form it will change to another form. No, they both are independent entity, valid entity. They have their own existence. So, and one form is called cis and another form is called trans, right? So this is the most important condition, right? So now let's see when can we have this with double bond, when, or I mean when there is a double bond, is it possible, or what all cases are there when the restriction is due to double bond, what all cases are there when restriction is due to some other case, right? So I'll actually draw few structures. You will have to tell me whether in those cases the geometrical isomerism is even possible or not. So let's see different cases. So we are not saying what is there on AN, we are just seeing whether it is possible or not, right? Just the possibility. Yes. So give it a try. First case, second case, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Yeah, so give it a try. Take the 2 to 3 minutes of time. No need to rush.
And like how we have to find it?
Okay, you just have to say whether it is possible or not. See, I'm not saying whether it is there or not, right? Because whether geometrical isomerism exists or not, that is not only dependent on double bonds, right? That will also depend on the substituents. So substituents should be different. But here, as you can see, we are not showing the substituents. So here, what I am asking is just if it is available, if it is possible or not. So I think in this case, we have already seen that in the first case, it is possible, right? What do we need for that? There should be this AB, and here it can be even AB. So if it is like this, I mean, two A and B, I mean, these substituents are different, so it is possible. If it is there, it will be there. Geometrical isomerism will be observed. So the structure which you are seeing, or the configuration which you are seeing in white, is uh, one of the necessary conditions for geometrical isomerism. So that's why we say it is possible. We don't say that it is there. Now see the second case. In this second case, what we see here is this structure, but what actually this structure is, it is actually like this: C double bond N, right? And now what should happen? On N, there should be two different substituents. But how many bonds are there? There is only one bond.
Yeah.
Right? So if there is only one bond, that means there will be only one substituent, and we need two different substituents, right? But as we have already seen that we are not discussing the structure, we are not discussing the chemical behavior. We are only discussing, or we are only bothered about just the configuration. Now the configuration, if you see, it is like this. There is a nitrogen, a single bond with nitrogen, which is actually shown like this here, but this in reality it will be like this. Right? And what will happen, the other part will be actually a lone pair like this. And now if that is possible, there is another possibility as well, that is double bond nitrogen and the single bond on this side and lone pair on this side. So now if you see, these are two different configurations. So that's why here also it is possible. Right? So what is the crux here, or our learning from this? That lone pair will also be considered as a substituent. Now keep that in mind. So that means this lone pair and one substituent, I mean one actual substituent and one lone pair. So now as their configuration can change, or it is possible that they can have two different configuration. So that's why we'll say that there is possibility of geometrical isomerism here. Again, it is possible. What we are saying that it is possible. We are not saying that it is already there. Now see the same thing here in case of carbon double bond oxygen. What is here? In this case, you have this substituent and this substituent, both are actually same, that is a lone pair. Now these two are lone pairs, that means these two are same. What did we say? Lone pairs also has to be considered as a substituent. Now you consider it as a substituent and you apply your logic here. So O has two substituents and both of them are same. That actually violates the second part of this. That is, restricted atoms should have different substituents. But now this oxygen is not having two different substituents. So if I have to answer it, I'll say possible, possible, not possible. Now can you tell me about fourth structure?
Not possible.
This is also not possible. Fifth structure?
That's not possible actually. Yeah.
Right, oxygen has two lone pairs and
Yeah,
both
two lone pairs.
same, right? And even in this sulfur also there are two lone
Not
pairs,
possible.
so this is also not possible, right? So we were discussing only the possibility here, and same thing we can discuss in case of carbon-carbon triple bond. I mean, in case of triple bonds as well. That is, the triple bond in organic compounds can be what you see is normally in this case, that is carbon-carbon triple bond and carbon-nitrogen triple bond. There are no other triple bond formations possible. And as you can see here, in both these cases, this geometrical isomerism is not possible in both these cases, because carbon should have two substituents, and because of three bonds, it is now able to have only one substituent, and there is no two different substituents. So geometrical isomerism is not possible, right? And both of these restricted atoms must have two different substituents. It's not like one of them is having and that is sufficient. So let us see one more example for that. That is C, double bond C, H, H, and here if I take H and H, obviously there won't be any geometrical isomerism. Now suppose I am taking CH3 and H. So if you see this, in this, the first carbon, the carbon on the left, has same hydrogen, and the carbon on the right has two different substituents. One is CH3 and another is H. So this is, you can say, this clears the criteria. This does not clears the criteria, and in totality, geometrical isomerism will not be possible. Because what will happen? What is the other configuration you will get? The other configuration will be same, right? Because if changing here doesn't make any sense, so don't do that. Changing here makes some sense, so do that. But what will you get after doing that? After doing that, you will get this C double bond C H CH3, H, and H. And geometrically, configuration wise, there is no difference between these two, right? So this you have to understand that they may, while drawing, you may have done some different drawing, but still these two are same. How? See, adjacent to CH3 is H, adjacent to CH3 is H. Diagonally opposite to CH3 is H, diagonally opposite to CH3 is H. Diagonally opposite to H is H, diagonally opposite to H, to H is H. These are this is how you will say the configurations, right? And all the configurations in both the structures are same. In both the structures, diagonally opposite to CH3 group is a hydrogen. In both the structures, the adjacent substituent to hydrogen is hydrogen, and to hydrogen is CH3. So that's why both of them, see, both of the restricted elements or restricted atoms must have two different substituents. Otherwise, this geometrical isomerism is not possible. Right? So now let's see some other examples and check whether we understood this concept or not. Suppose there is this nitrogen double bond and like this N2 molecule. Is it possible? Geometrical isomerism?
No.
Why?
No, because
This structure is,
was it possible?
let's see, it is actually like this. There is a lone pair.
Lone pair.
Right? So lone pair, as we said, it is a substituent. We have to take them as some substitute. So here these are on the same side, and there can be another configuration in which the lone pairs will be diagonally opposite. Right? So here it is possible. This you will have to understand. Don't miss the lone pair. Right? Okay. So that's how you're going to identify the geometrical isomers. Okay, so you have to be very careful about the lone pairs as well when you are going to decide whether they are geometrical isomers available or possible or not. Again, this topic is not asked directly in your board exams, but in your NEET exams or in your competitive exams or IITs, you can expect questions directly based on these topics, right? In your these competitive exams, this general organic chemistry GOC is a very huge topic. So there will be more, you can expect around 30 to 40% weightage in GOC out of total organic chemistry, right? And then there will be other functional groups and other chapters of your 11th standard. Right, so that was about the cases of geometrical isomerism. And now we will also see some reactions or some not reactions, but the changes in general which we can expect, which will involve isomerism when we are going to study those reactions in our 12th class chapters later on. So it will be there when we'll be doing this nitro compounds, because what we are going to study here is formation of carbon double bond N. Such compounds or compounds involving carbon double bond N. So I'll give you a general reaction or general strategy for this, which you have to understand, and the compounds which are formed, so that when such reactions come, when we face such reactions, it becomes easy for us to understand their mechanism or from the point of view of isomerism as well. So how this is formed is that you will have an aldehyde or ketone. That is, aldehyde and ketone will actually look like this: R, C, double bond O, and on this side there will be either a alkyl group or hydrogen. So if it is alkyl group, this will be called ketone, and if it is H, it will be called a aldehyde. I hope you know this, right? That R, C, H, O. This is aldehyde, and R, C, double bond O, R dash. This is ketone. So these are the two compounds. This, when they react with compound like this, where nitrogen has bonds with two hydrogen and some you can say some other group, right? So now what happens here is, as you can see, we are going to form this compound C double bond N. So here you already have the setup for that. You have this C here, double bond O is there, and here there is N. So now only thing is that O has to be replaced by N. So what actually happens in such scenarios is that this H2O gets removed. Right? So what do we have there? H2O, 2H and 1O. So this will get removed, and what we will get as result of this is this compound R. Again here there will be either H or R dash depending on whatever was the original substrate. Then there will be a double bond, and this time the double bond will be with nitrogen, and nitrogen already has a group attached with this. Right now, this group G, which we have seen here, this group G can be there are multiple options for this G, and based on that G, our final compound is formed. Right. So this is the you can say this is what exactly is this, the reagent. This reagent, it has NH2 and G. Instead of G, if there is an H, it will be called ammonia. So from ammonia molecule, one hydrogen is removed and another group is added. So this is nothing but ammonia derivative, a derivative of ammonia, right? And even it can be ammonia. So this group is important. What? This particular group is important because the final compound will depend on this group. The mechanism will be same thing. So this is, you can say, core reaction, and this is, you can say, skeleton of a reaction, or say the main blueprint of such type of reactions. The only thing is this particular group. So what all groups it can have? Let us see that. This group can be simplest group, hydrogen. If it is hydrogen, that means this is actually ammonia, NH3, right? I hope you understand it, that this is already NH3, right? What else can be there in place of H? It can be like this, N and R. That means there is this H and R. That is a alkyl group. Now, which type of compound is this? What family is it, or does it belong to?
Amine.
This is actually 1 degree amine, right? So there can be that. There can be even this N, and here instead of R, there can be OH. So this is actually NH2OH. So like this, there can be multiple possibilities. There can be this N, and after that again NH2. So this is actually NH2NH2, right? And this compound is called hydrazine. The compound, this one, this is called hydroxylamine. So like this, there are multiple possibilities. There can be H, there can be R, there can be OH, there can be, we have already seen up to here, it can be NH2, it can be even, now see what we are doing here. There is an N, there was already an H, and one H I'll remove, and I'll add a phenyl group. Now what will be this called? See, NH2
DNP.
was called hydrazine. Now there is a phenyl. So it will be called
Diphenyl hydrazine.
not diphenyl. Right now it is only phenyl hydrazine.
Oh yeah, phenyl hydrazine.
Right? Okay. And then this, even this hydrogen can be removed. And in place of this, there can be two phenyl groups. Now this is called
Diphenyl hydrazine.
yes, this will be called and actually there is one not exactly this, yeah, it will be called diphenyl hydrazine, and there can be another thing, that is N, having this as well as H here. Actually this is not important here, this, the one which I'm doing here, that is more important. And after that there is a phenyl group, and in that phenyl group there are two nitro groups, that is NO2 and NO2, right? And in
Diprophenyl hydrazine.
okay, if I have to name this, I'll have to start numbering from here, that is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this one nitro is 4. So there are two nitro at position 2 and 4. So this is actually called 2,4-DNP. 2,4 dinitro. There are two nitro groups. So this is 2,4 dinitro phenyl hydrazine. Hydrazine is called due to this. So this group is hydrazine, right? Due to this, the name comes hydrazine, and due to this prefix is there, phenyl. So this is phenyl, and this is hydrazine, right? And that's why now this is 2,4-dinitrophenyl hydrazine. So these are the substituents, or these are the groups which can be there in G, in place of G. And now the task for you guys is to come up with the products. So before the next class, try to come up with the products, different products, and those different products will have different names, which I'll explain in the next class. I think the class at 5 o'clock will be of physics, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So at 5 we'll be doing physics, but try to complete this by that time itself, or anyways in the next class, next organic chemistry class, we'll discuss this as well. And all these reactions you will find in nitro compounds chapter this year. So it's better to understand this here itself. Right? So that's all.
So how do you convert this into the to C double bond N?
No, because there is carbon. Carbon was connected with oxygen, which was having double bond. double bond. So the next time when